This is the first in-person episode of Tales from the Head. It's pretty special to actually do this live with Danny.
Yeah, dude. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I can high five you now for real. So
we can touch each other.
Yeah.
That was awkward. I did the other hand.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
I could have just done the lefty.
I mean,
it's a little bit better, so it felt better.
There you go.
There we go.
But no, like, because I remember we did an episode for Stoop Kid, and that was kind of cool, and that was in person, but that was like 2019, 20.
God, I mean, dude,
18 or
20.
something.
It was 2019.
Yeah.
Man, what a year. That was a wacky
we
year.
did not know what was coming.
No, it started really, really good.
It did.
And, yeah, a whole bunch of things were happening.
You know what's fucking crazy, dude? You know what's crazy? When I went and recorded Stoop Kid, I think I was like in my fucking high right there, dude. I was like, you know, I was with the relationship. I was completely happy with my work. Everything finally felt like, all right, everything's gonna turn around. Little did I fucking know, like, because I think I went like in May to your house or something.
Yeah, dude, you were
May or April.
That sounds about right, because you were probably one of the last ones before I went on that hiatus in the summer.
Yeah. So it was around that time, and little did we know, like, in a couple of months, our worlds were just going to be, like...
Dude, change.
But yet, here we are still, dude, so...
Yeah, and you know what's weird is the years go by faster and faster every year.
Oh, hell yeah. Dude, we're in fucking April.
Yeah, like mid-April. No, not quite.
But
no,
pretty much.
Almost. We're a week away from mid-April.
I mean... Might as well, because I literally just sent in my mortgage payment for my house this morning.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for those who don't know about mortgage, I know I'm going to talk a little bit about privilege here, but
no, it was planning.
Yeah, but
good planning.
And I don't want to like rub it in, but you know, our mortgage is due on the 1st of every month.
Right.
But the bank gives you a little leeway.
Right.
And for my bank it's until the 16th.
Oh wow!
I'm not sure how long is your leeway.
I don't know.
You're like,
that's a nice little stretch of time.
So you should look it up. Look up on your mortgage to see when it's like really due. So like, yeah, my rent is due on the 1st, but they're like no late fee if it's, you know, if you get it delivered before the 16th or something.
Dang.
So.
Dude, that's sweet. You have like more. That's like 15 days.
Yeah, dude. So they're really, really cool with that. Maybe I shouldn't post that up on or publicize it. But I mean,
no. But I mean, you're within the thing. You know, they know they're getting their interest out of you. You're already locked in.
Yeah, I'm locked in.
So it's not like
30 years.
They're not going to get their money.
Yeah,
I think that's part of it.
End of the day, we're here in the Bay Area. If I skip on my mortgage, they're gonna go in there, take my house, and that shit is gonna be
liquidate assets, take your tax money.
Yeah, they're gonna get their money,
and I mean the ones you teach.
Yeah, take them, please, take them.
No, dude, but there's a silly article I read, and I didn't really like it. I didn't like the way it was written, but in a nutshell, it talks about. Studies show you can actually judge someone by their taste in music, which I've always kind of done naturally anyway.
Yeah, I did it too.
Yeah.
I done it too.
Right? I mean, and I think before we go into this article, let's just explore this.
Well,
like, let's go through our gangs of New York of our musical genres and how we relate them to people.
Well, here's the thing. I feel this may not be the case for everybody, but at least our circle of friends, including you, Coop, we're very heavily influenced by music. Definitely. Like that is our fucking like thing. Like I was just saying this on Twitter. So far, every single thing I own, as far as clothing wise, is either a band T-shirt, something death metal related, or like something evil related, or a soccer merch.
Right, or sports.
Yeah, which my little plug, this is exactly what I'm wearing
there
right
you
now.
go.
Yeah.
And you can actually see it.
Yeah, here, let me put it up over here.
Boom.
I posted this up on Twitter, and I think I did it also on Instagram, but I'm wearing, there's a supporter group out of Houston, Texas. I'm sorry, not Houston, Austin, Texas.
Austin, okay.
Yeah, there's a new soccer team out there, and there's a supporter group called Los Verdes, the Greens. So, you know, me being part of the L3 and the soccer community and stuff like that, Started following them, and then I saw that they released this merch. They did a collaboration with the Hi, How Are You project, which is it's in memory of this musician called Daniel Johnston, who I'm a big fan of him. So it was a no-brainer for me. Like, oh shit, soccer and Daniel Johnston, and it's to promote mental wellness.
Right.
Fuck,
that's perfect.
That's all me. So bought it. And I'm rocking it. I'm figuring, hey, we're gonna be in person, might as well. But
dude, I mean, and like that's a good part of the conversation because let's use that as an example. Daniel Johnston music.
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, we played a little bit earlier. He was kind of in the 80s?
Yeah, 80s, late 80s, 90s, yeah.
So from what I heard, and this was only a song, and I am super not hip to him, so I'm not throwing a label, but if I was going to judge him or people that listen to his music, genre-wise, he's kind of in the Neil Young folk. Like folk genre. So how would you stereotype a folk? Well, or do you want to, or do you want me to do it?
Well, I mean, just to be 100% like real, because why would the fuck I lie with this one? If I see somebody wearing a Daniel Johnston shirt or like any folky shit, I'm like, look at this fucking hipster.
Yeah.
Look at this hipster. Like, do you really gonna go home and listen to this? Dude. But at the end of the day, I go home and I listen to this. So who am I to judge? But
you know what I mean? Like, okay, so... But then there's people like you and me that might be like undercover, folk listeners.
Yeah.
Because we're not wearing the weird like Jeepers Creepers hat with the tight corduroy and like and we're not doing that really. The ascot, basically you're dressed like Jimi Hendrix or the Rolling Stones in the 70s.
Yeah.
But you're living now.
Yeah.
You're like it's kind of bohemian almost.
Very, very gypsy kind of style.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
A lot of jangle. And
a lot of tassels.
Little tambourine.
Yeah.
But dude, so we're going to be stereotyping here, and it has nothing to do with hate. It is purely proving how silly this article really is.
Yeah.
But it's kind of also identifying, like I said, I feel like musically there is kind of a Gangs of New York aspect.
No, there is.
Culture to the world with... We gang up with our genres, dude, 100%.
Bro, I'm gonna tag you this on Twitter, but our good friend Miguel, he's also your friend on Twitter. He runs this company called Foot Cult. If you guys haven't done anything, look in the camera.
Oh yeah.
Check him out, dude. Great stuff.
Check him out. I looked into the camera. I was looking at the screen.
Yeah, looking at the camera. Looking here. Boom. Foot Cult. Miguel, love you, bro. Anyways,
Foot Cult.
He sends me this video. Apparently, there's like a fucking Gangs of New York riot in Mexico City.
Oh shit!
It was, and you'll fucking laugh out of this, but it was the punk rockers, versus the emos.
Oh god!
And then like they brought in like the metalheads into that, and the darks, which is like the goth kids,
right?
And they're fighting in the streets because they're biting my style. Basically.
Oh, right.
And Miguel goes like, hey, Danny, which side are you taking? I'm like, fuck, all of them. Like, I'll take all
I was
of
just going to ask you too, because, so like, if based on your birth music, like, let's just go deep. Let's just pretend like we're like prophesizing some Lord of the Rings shit right now. So like, it's like what you listened to when you were like basically before you had an individual opinion. Yeah. You were still probably jamming out to your parents' stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So, like, what would you be label-wise?
So, I'll be Paisa, apparently.
Yeah.
Like, pre-teens or something. So, for me, the pivotal point of my musical taste turning.
Yeah.
And it was this song. It doesn't get a lot of respect, but this is the song that I was like, oh, shit, I love this genre of music. And it was... oh god, it's the Swedish band.
ABBA.
No, it's Europe.
Europe.
And the song was The Final Countdown.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember listening to a song for the first time when I was like 10, and that shit just like blew my mind. I was like, holy fuck, this is so fucking cool.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like the coolest guy ever because I was listening to the and then I had like the CD, so I knew all like the fucking songs. By the way, listen to that album. It's fucking amazing. I'm not even gonna lie. Like The Final Countdown by Europe. That album is such fucking solid album. And I had the pleasure of seeing them perform live and actually have their set list in my house.
Wait, when did you see them live?
I saw them in San Jose at the Rock Shop, and this is like
Rock Bar.
Yeah, the Rock Bar. There you go. The Rock Bar.
Yeah.
This is like maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Where that shit got shut down.
Oh, quick.
Yeah.
But I remember like I went there and I saw Mudhoney. I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember I dragged our good friend Ray, and he's like, "Who the fuck is Mudhoney?" I'm like, "Oh, dude, they're like one of the pioneers of grunge."
Yeah.
And like they were pissed off at Nirvana because they said that Nirvana ripped them off.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, okay." And he fucking, like there was like maybe like 10 people. Right. There was like 10 people at that show, but it was like amazing show.
Dude, but that's the best though because it's so intimate.
Oh, absolutely. Best and there's just like just fucking pros. Like, dude, you have these legendary bands. Like, sure, when you think of grunge, you think of like obviously Nirvana,
right?
Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, fucking Pearl Jam,
the Melvins.
Yeah, the Melvins. But like, there's a lot of these like like the bands that didn't quite get MTV status.
Yeah.
And Mudhoney was one of them. I mean, I think their most notorious. They're mostly known for coming out in freaking Black Sheep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, remember?
I remember that.
Yeah, they did a little cameo. That was fun,
dude.
But yeah, dude, I remember we went there, and then I remember going, and then like Ray got us tickets to see Europe. I'm like, oh, dude, I gotta go. He's like, what the fuck? I'm like, dude, you understand? Like, this is like the band that got me into rock music. So,
dude, that's so perfect.
Yeah,
but that literally is the band that got you into the heavier.
Yeah.
Right. So that was your gateway.
Yeah. From there, I started listening to 98.5 KOME.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you remember that.
And KSJO. Live 105. Well, it wasn't Live 105. It was Live 105.
It was Live 105. Yeah. So it was 92.3 KSJO, which later became The Bone. 107.7.
No, it didn't become The Bone. The Bone was around like right when it was ending. And it was a competitor.
Okay.
But it basically took over because Lamont and Tonelli went to The Bone.
Yeah.
They used to be on KSJO.
Yeah. And KOME was like, I remember that's where I discovered bands like Bush and like Smashing Pumpkins, Oasis.
KOME was was KOME the same as K-Fog?
No, they were more like Live 105. They were playing like the alternative music and they were playing.
Well, because K-Fog, or maybe it was later. Because remember, No Name went to K-Fog? Did K-Fog change? Because K-Fog kind of was alternative.
So, if I remember, goddamn Bay Area.
So fucking confusing.
I remember 98.5 died down and everybody went over to like Live 105. That became the new like alternative grunge whatever station. And then they kind of went more into this like poppy.
Yeah,
I cannot fucking
it's
listen.
Alt 105 now, right?
Yeah,
or whatever.
Alternative, yeah. And I cannot dig it. And that's where No Name. I remember he went over to.
That's where he went to K-Fog. You're right.
97.7 is it or
that was Alice? So he went to Alice. So fucking. Yeah. How do I know all this crap? But like, he went to Alice, and then he was at K-Fog for a while. But when K-Fog literally ended, they did a whole like show run where they like played, but I think they were playing KOME stuff because K-Fog wasn't. Maybe I'm misinformed, but I'm with you. I don't think K-Fog was K-Fog because they all changed.
Yeah,
the letters stay the same, but the
format or whatever,
changes up.
One of the greatest compliments I ever had was actually from No Name, and it's very funny that you bring him up.
So you met No Name?
I met No Name like twice, and then like I think I call in and requesting music or something.
Right.
Yeah. You actually talk to the DJ, which is fucking weird.
That is cool.
But it's super cool. So, I think I called in. I was like working for Edible Arrangements or something, so I'm making deliveries. And it's like the request hour, or request hour, call whatever you want, or request whatever you want. And I call like 5 minutes before, or like 10 minutes before he finished his set, and I'm like, No Name picks up, and I'm like, hey dude, can you put New Noise by Refuse? And he goes, whoa. He goes, whoa, dude, I cannot promise you I can play it and I can fit it in. He's all, but I will try my best. But dude, thank you for having like great musical taste compared to like 90% of the other listeners. And I'm like, fucking No Name said that to me. Thanks, bro.
Everyone's requesting a bunch of like top 40.
Yeah, they're requesting fucking
it's the same thing over and over
again.
again.
Linkin Park.
They're like, hey, can you play Mr. Brightside?
Yeah.
Yeah, great. Sure.
Yeah. So, so by him telling me like, thank you for having like 90% of like 90 a better taste than 90% of the audience. I'm like, thanks, bro. Thanks,
bro.
Dude,
no, that's definitely
thanks,
like
bro.
I'm with you on that because I know some people are like, I don't care what other people think, but I'm the opposite.
Yeah. Oh,
I pretend like I don't, but I do.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally. Like I say I don't give a shit, but I care.
Of course we
care. And then like
dude.
when you get the compliment though, or like from someone you admire, it feels good.
Oh, 100%, dude. And it's just kind of like so. It goes back to the theme of this show is like it validates that our musical taste is fucking. It's top notch.
But I've always looked at, and that's kind of what I was gonna get into. Like I wanted to explain some of the different groups.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Shit on them a little,
yeah,
and then unify it because me and you are just melting pots.
Oh, absolutely, dude. We listen to everything.
So that's why I'm gonna do it anyway. That's why I think we should rip on them because it's all part of what we are.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care. It's happening.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
So I mean, let's break it down. I'm not gonna write anything down. We got our genres. We're not gonna go too deep in these genres and stuff. It gets
really fucking weird, dude.
Because there's subgenres of metal.
Mm-hmm.
There should only be like 2 for metal. Like you got your goth and then your metal.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't even know. Non-metal people, non-goth people would lump them together.
Yeah.
Metal and goth people are not even close to the same thing at all.
No, they're not.
But
maybe we share like aesthetics.
Be like the heavy.
No, I was gonna say the aesthetics, like with the black shirts and kind of like looking kind of spooky. If you will.
Yeah, we're gonna lump the corpse paint people with the goth people.
Yeah,
not because of musical taste, it's because if they're that weird, they're just together.
Yeah, they're just together.
They're hanging out.
And I fall under both of them.
Yeah,
also.
no, but all of it.
Yeah.
So like, so we did folk, we made, they're hipsters and totally true. I mean, when I went to college, like 80% of the people that went there looked like they could have been in like of Mice and Men?
Of Mice and Men?
Yeah. Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons, yeah, because of Mice and Men is a metalcore band.
Oh, well, see.
Of Monster and Men, maybe?
Monsters of Men? But yes, that one.
But we can.
God, I'm butchering.
But we can. Can agree with whatever that.
Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were folky at first.
Deny my dear.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Look, you escaped potato famine. Just get over yourself. Stop there. You're on the bottom deck of the Titanic. You sunk first. No music for you. No, but. So like, yeah, like
I will wait for you.
Oh yeah,
great fucking song by the way.
No, dude, I like Mumford and Sons.
Yeah, me too.
But
fucking
it's like,
great show. I saw them live once, and they put on a fucking great show.
But totally, like speaking of Gangs of New York, like you could dress like you're in Gangs of New York and be in Mumford and Sons.
Yeah.
Like you're in, dude.
Yeah, do you play anything?
Also, perfectly fits in with South by Southwest.
Oh
yeah. So they'd be on the lineup. They probably were on the lineup.
Shit, I should just like submit. I should submit my paperwork for like to play a triangle or something.
Dude,
on that one.
We just need to walk around with something and just be like, yeah, man, like I don't know, kind of a big deal in like Europe or like India.
Yeah,
you heard of me?
No one knows. Like no, I think we gotta say like
an actual place,
like an Eastern European, like Estonia.
Yeah, like fucking Prague.
Yeah, like one of those. Brussels, like one of those countries that no one really knows, like they know is in somewhere like in Europe, but
basically used to be part of the USSR back. Just a random tiny country.
Yeah. On a fucking side note, I'm gonna drive up here. I was listening to post-punk rock music or post-punk.
Okay.
But Russian post-punk rock.
Russian post-punk rock.
Fucking amazing shit. Because it they label it post-punk rock,
right? But that's just because it's like it's in our generation, but it still sounds like
it sounds. It's for me. It's like goth, like very like when it comes to like their guitars, it sounds like they have a lot of like chorus, a lot of reverb, a lot of like maybe a little flanger in there,
kind
of
big.
Yeah, like very atmospheric, if you will. And then like some vocals like super like you can tell there's effects on the vocals along with like reverb and like delay and shit.
Well, what's the name of the band? Yeah, there you go. You
Something-
couldn't even pronounce it.
I was-
That's how legit. Okay, that's how Russian was.
Again, our good friend Miguel and then my friend Meredith were writing this on Twitter. And Meredith shared like, oh, there's like this whole Russian post-punk playlist on Spotify.
Dude.
And I'm like, oh shit, well, let me go ahead and hit that follow really quickly so I can listen to it on my drive over here. And pretty good shit.
I'm gonna check it out, dude, because I gotta listen to I gotta listen to different things. You gotta widen your view, or just be like, look, maybe I liked it, maybe I didn't, but you gotta try.
You gotta try.
I like trying.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Trying and stuff. But I'm sorry, back to the metals and the two.
Yeah, so okay, so we did folk, and then we did I kept on doing folk. Let's stereotype punk rockers.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
that's a little near and dear to my heart.
I'm gonna go like you got the Dickies shorts, Dickies long shorts.
So those are pop punks. Like
That's true.
Like if you'll go back to like the early 2000s, it was, if you'll see me, it was Dickies shorts, the baggy ones.
Right.
It was either black socks or like knee high white socks with like different stripes.
Right.
Converse or Vans.
Kind of cholo-y.
Yes. Super. For references, just look up Blink-182, Newfound Glory. Even Chino from like Deftones. Yeah. Dressed like this.
Totally.
The studded belt. It was all about like
it was
the
very
studded
SoCal.
Belt. Very
like
SoCal.
Bakersfield and SoCal.
Yeah. Absolutely. So very SoCal, kind of laid back, kind of vibe. But it was, the Dickie shorts, either the studded belt or like the ones that you bought like at Sensei Blue Jeans. I'm not sure which ones.
With the initial.
With the initial in OE in all English, yeah. And like a black shirt. And it'll be like a punk rock band or like Atticus.
Yeah.
Like Beth or
Famous.
Famous, yeah. And maybe a trucker hat.
See, and did you get into trucker hats?
I got into trucker hats, unfortunately.
I didn't, and they never fit me right. And then, looking back, I'm like, yeah, there's not really a shortage of white guys in trucker hats, so I'm good. I'm good.
I'm good here.
No. Well, because I thought about like the guys that
percentage.
pulled it off. I'm like, either like redneck white dudes or like Ashton Kutcher white dudes.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be either, so.
Well, and also like if you were into the punk rock thing, again, look up Tom DeLonge or Newfound Glory or whatever. It was never like straightforward. It was always like kind of tilted to the side.
Yeah.
To add like a little bit of flavor, if you will. And then like of course like you have people like Travis Barker putting like studs in the edge or something,
or like spikes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. But yeah, Dickie shorts. That's one punk rock. But if I say crust punk rock, what do you think?
Wait, when you say what?
Crust.
When you say crust punk rock, I just think of like Sex Pistols, like Dirty, like they used to do heroin, and they're like they still got a 6-pack even though like 45.
Yeah,
and they have hepatitis, and they don't have relationships with anyone
yeah.
They've been to rehab 3 times. They've dyed their hair. They've bleached and dyed their hair so many times that they don't even know what their hair color is anymore. Did I mention hepatitis?
Yes, I think you did. Which letter though?
B and C.
B and C.
Let's just cover the alphabet of
Okay.
hepatitis.
Okay.
Let's just all inclusive.
Yeah. Let's just be all inclusive with that one.
No, I'm totally being an asshole. Facial piercings.
Yeah.
Neck tattoos. Face tattoos weren't really a thing yet.
No, but I definitely think
like
about
the neck and the arm.
I think of the spider web tattoo
on the elbow.
Yeah.
Very prison tat.
Yeah.
Because that's a super prison-y tat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just, all around rebel kind of like, I say this with an endearment, scumbag.
Yeah.
So when you say crust, that's not an endearing thing, but it is towards punk. But it's just like towards like a person that wears clothes and like goes to a restaurant and eats like in front of people and has standards.
Yeah, it's kind of
like crust doesn't sound good. So, but in the punk world, it's like that's not how it works. It's the opposite.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like bands, whenever I think of, oh yeah, when you describe this person, I'm like, oh, they must listen to like the Casualties. They fucking listen to like
just the straight up punk.
Yeah,
like
Operation Ivy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Fucking, they
even Pennywise is too pop for that.
No, that's fucking bro shit, bro.
Yeah. Well, bro, was it bro him?
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I'm just thinking like super fast, like East LA. What's up, rocker kind of.
What about so wait, and then that's the tough thing though, because then you kind of have that cross with hardcore, right? Because then like where does Minor Threat and Black Flag fall under that?
So, man, that's a good one, because those are like the ones that's like started like the hardcore movement also.
Yeah, but they were kind of punk though.
Yeah, they were definitely punk. Them and like Dead Kennedy. Well, Dead Kennedys, I think I'll definitely put them in the crust punk. Thing.
That's a good one. Dead Kennedys, Rancid, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. Even though I feel like Rancid's more ska.
Yeah, Ruby Soho is a pretty good example of kind of a ska vibe.
Time Bomb.
I agree. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
you're right. Let's go. We're going back. Minor Threat, Black Flag.
Definitely Dead Kennedys. Definitely.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like you said, Sex Pistols. Absolutely. I'm trying to think which other bands around that time were just like Fear. Bands like Fear.
I haven't even heard of a band named Fear.
There's a band called Fear.
I've seen the movie.
Iggy Pop.
Oh, Iggy Pop. Yeah. Oh, dude. Gigi Allen.
Yeah.
How could I forget fucking Iggy Pop? Fuck.
The Exploited. Like all these, I don't know. Leather jackets. That's what I'm thinking.
Spray painted leather jackets.
Yeah. But yeah, like even between punk rock, like if I go out and then say like, oh yeah, I listen to Pennywise. That's it. Like I think that's a good. I'm like, oh yeah, I love freaking Pennywise. You're thinking like, oh, this guy loves like SoCal. He skateboarding and he's part of fucking bro, or like, or he's part of fraternity.
That's true though. Yeah. You really do that. Like I do that. Mm-hmm. I still do that. Like, and it's funny because I notice too. I don't necessarily gravitate to people in my wheelhouse musically.
Mm-hmm.
Like I love metal music, but I don't always love metal heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then it goes the same way with almost any style of music. Like, I don't want to hang out with crust punkers.
No.
I would love to listen to their music.
I love their music.
I like to get drunk and do whatever they do too.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want to hang out with those people.
Because it's not your crowd. It's not your crowd.
It's got to be your crowd. Because especially with a genre like punk, they're not the most accepting.
No, they're very purist, dude. Very gatekeepers, dude. I think in every any genre, there's always fucking gatekeepers.
But I will say the punk purists are pretty good.
Yeah.
Because I feel like almost every other genre can be like, they'll flex. They're the ones who, to me, consistently are like, nah, dude, this is what we like, no matter how shitty you think it sounds. And like, that makes us like it more. Like, I've seen compromise over the years, but punk kind of, I don't know, dude. Mm-hmm. To me, punk, even though it has subgenres that like pop punk and like we were talking about, but like punk itself, like you just said, like that stuff still stands up as punk.
Yeah.
It's not like it's outdated or classic. People, like you said, it's just like that's like the grimy core of punk.
Yeah.
You know?
Another band that I just remembered right now when you're saying is, how can we fucking forget? The Clash.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. London Calling.
Yeah, and freaking like just them. But then within themselves, they were also taking a lot of like influences of like reggae and like rude boy music and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, and you know, they weren't really punk, but with that reggae style and everything like that, the Police. Because they also kind of had a punk vibe too, but they very heavily reggae with the singing style and the bass.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing about the Police was Stuart Copeland, well, he's an American. He was the only American in the group.
Yeah.
But insane drummer.
Yeah.
If you listen to him, the thing that sets him apart from other drummers is his cymbal work.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I say he doesn't always. He is reggae too. Like, because when you hear those beats, it's like, dude. Also, when you hear stuff like, you might think Sting's a white dude, but when you hear, when I hear Stuart Copeland play, I'm like, I don't first think a skinny white guy. is playing drums.
No.
Because it's just it's just like you said, like the reggae style. And you always just picture a black dude.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like, oh, yeah, totally. But it's like when you hear it's like a white guy, you're just like, that's dope, too. Because it doesn't matter. It's just you feel it, you learn it, and you do it.
And I think you can, like, an example of that is, like, sticking with the Police. It'll be like, what's their song? Message in the Bottle.
Yeah.
You know, the drums on that is so good. And even, like, when they come in, and even, like that song would have been perfect, which is your basic, you know, kick, snare beat.
Yeah.
You know, it will work. But even there, like, he does a little groove to it also. You know, even like the switch between like the choruses and the pre-choruses and musical breaks, like right before he comes in, like he does a little, you know.
Dude, it's so, that's great. Between him and Sting, I mean, because they're the rhythm section.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing rhythm section. It's only two people.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean.
But like the reggae thing.
Great, dude. Yeah.
I mean, okay, and then reggae, well, I know they were maybe Jamaican influence. I don't know if they're necessarily reggae, but Bad Brains kind of had somewhat of a
I'm not sure.
They're hardcore, but
they're definitely Rastafarians. And now the singer does a lot of, like, reggae music and stuff like that. I'm not surprised.
But, I mean, reggae is a huge part of American culture as well. So.
Yeah, but, definitely has that style and it has that vibe. But definitely the punk rock definitely like can branch off into like hardcore also.
Yeah.
And that's like hardcore, you can say like, oh, they're like a completely different genre. But like at the same time, it's like
I feel like it's an offshoot of punk.
It's an offshoot of punk. Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Because if you go back, if you want to be a gatekeeper and go back to like the original, you know, what started hardcore, you know, it always goes back into like Minor Threat.
Yeah.
You know, or Black Flag.
But who inspired them? And then it's going to be some weird shit like... I guarantee you they probably were inspired by the Beatles.
But, yeah.
Because it's as weird as it sounds, just because everyone from that era kind of was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, well, no, they're probably inspired by Sabbath.
That kind of stuff.
But Sabbath was directly inspired by the Beatles.
Yeah.
Motorhead was directly inspired by the Beatles.
Yeah, we talked about
like you said, Little Richard.
Well,
that 50s
rock
and roll.
I just saw an interview with Chris, I can't remember his last name, but the guitar player for the Foo Fighters.
Oh, Chris Shiflett.
Yeah. Who he used to play in a punk rock band called No Use for a Name. Also from San Jose, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I believe.
Okay.
No Use for a Name is in San Jose. But yeah, Fat Wreck, legendary punk rock band. But he was talking about his favorite riffs, and like the number one riff is like, oh yeah, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Like Norwegian Drive or whatever.
Oh, Norwegian Wood.
Yeah, yes. Norwegian Wood.
That's a good one.
He's talking about like Kiss. You know, Kiss has always been like, oh yeah, Kiss. And, you know, so a lot of these, like, again, No Use for a Name were huge like in the mid-90s. You know, and all these bands are being influenced by them. You know, if you go back and, you know, take it back further to, I'm trying to think like which famous band from like the 80s were like heavily influenced by like the Beatles. Like, dude,
well,
Paul McCartney was, I'm sorry, not Paul McCartney, fucking Dave Grohl and Nirvana.
Oh, Sonic Youth is a big influence for them.
The Pixies also.
Oh, the Pixies, that's good.
But yeah, for the most part, also like the Beatles, they grew up listening to like Rolling Stone and the Beatles, and that's
and dude, you know, like Billy Corgan was probably super influenced by the Beatles.
Not only that, but like he will admit it. Like this whole I'm trying. There he is. I love Billy Corgan, by the way, in the Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah. He was saying like the whole sound is just him trying to rip off Sabbath.
Sabbath, right?
Yeah, Sabbath. And I go back and I listen to it. Yeah, and I go back and listen to it, and I'm like, yeah.
Like Zero?
Yeah.
Dude.
It's all those fucking fuzz pedals. And even if you go to like the earlier stuff, it's all like so much overdrive, so much fuzz that he was trying to go for that, you know, paranoid kind of sound of Black Sabbath.
Random side Snapple fact about Paranoid. Did you know that song literally was made because the record label said you need one more song on your album or we're not going to put it out?
Shit.
So they recorded it in like, if I'm not mistaken, a day.
Uh-huh.
It's one of their biggest hits.
Yeah.
They wrote it and fucking recorded it in like a day.
That's fucking funny.
Like, all right, we got to put a song together.
And I kind of told you, we talked about this a couple days ago or a couple episodes ago with like the Blink-182 thing also, where like they were ready to release their album and the record label was like, yeah, there's no single here. Like we need a single. We need the classic Blink-182 single. So they were fucking pissed off. So Tom DeLonge went home and he wrote First Date, and Mark Hoppus went home and he wrote The Rock Show.
Okay.
And they became like the two biggest singles of
Dude.
Blink.
Yeah, that's funny.
And they hate it. I mean, I'm pretty sure they like their songs, but they're
yeah,
like,
because they got paid.
Yeah, but they're like, it wasn't even supposed to be there. But they're like, okay, you want us to write poppy music? Let me go home and write you the most generic fucking poppy song ever.
And that's probably when artists hate when we as fans are like, please play this. And they're like, God, you don't like any of the shit I worked at.
Yeah.
You like the crap I made.
Well, I just posted this on Instagram about Gautier. Remember Gautier? No,
yeah.
You're just somebody that I used. Yeah.
Beep, boop, beep, boop.
Somebody. I remember like somebody did a review about his concert and it was like, yeah, everybody was just there to listen to that one fucking song.
Oh, totally.
Nobody knew what other song he had.
I don't know the man. I'm not judging him, but he definitely, for me, based on what I know, he falls in the one-hit wonder category.
Yeah, apparently he was huge in Australia, his native land of Australia.
Dude, look.
But
I mean, hey,
here in the States, it was one hit.
The Knack was huge in Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has their fucking moment.
Yeah.
You know,
so
one day we will too.
Hopefully.
Hungary, I'm looking for it.
Belarus, we want you. But yeah, definitely fits in the one hit wonder kind of thing, and it goes into that funky weird music kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you were to come up to me and be like, "Oh yeah, Gautier is my favorite artist," I'd be like, "Well, which other song does he fucking play and why?"
I'm with you. I'm like, why?
Yeah, like why?
Because damn, dude, if someone asked me, first of all, I couldn't even answer that question.
Yeah.
But like, if you're that balls deep into Gautier, dude, like, first of all, I can't say anything to convince you you're wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to. Mm-hmm. I'm just trying to understand who you are.
Yeah. Why?
What does this mean?
Why did you listen to this?
What happened in your life to make you a Gautier fan?
Blink twice if you're in trouble, please.
Yeah, dude, like, it's totally like, it just sounds mean, but that's the funny thing. This is what we do. We're labeling people. We're going through this. We're clearing the air. We need to laugh about this stuff, not target people.
No,
it's a silly thing.
It's a good roast.
And it's making up what we like. And that's why we're laughing about it, because it really goes into who we are.
Yeah.
And you got to laugh about yourself.
Absolutely.
But you know, let's go down the line here. I kind of wanted to take a trip to let's get the rap hip hop realm taken care of, and that has taken, man, just like metal, I'd say it's evolved a lot more. Yeah. At least as far as I'm judging. I'm not even talking music. I'm saying just the demographic of fans and like how people look. I mean, you can go 90s was baggy, 2000s was still baggy. Mm-hmm. You got 2010s was kind of getting tight. Now it's straight up like it's not even. I mean, it's not even recognizable.
No.
Like if you could take 98 and 2004, you'd be like, all right, yeah, they're a hip hop group,
dude. And you know,
they're like hip hop.
And you know what's crazy? A lot of these new artists are like so heavily influenced by like the music that we're influencing,
right? Like,
and it's
like
in
the
their
rock
20s.
crossover.
Yeah. So like, I remember I had this conversation a long time ago with a coworker, and he goes like, "Oh, dude, I'm loving this new style of rap music that they're bringing in, like the rock influence, you know, with like clothing brands." And I'm like, and of course at the time the number one song at the time was that "Party Like a Rock Star" song. The party. Totally, dude. Fucking, I hated that song. Dude.
That song is terrible,
so bad. But
if you like this song, just turn this off and just don't even like us on Instagram or YouTube,
please. But I told him like, dude, it's not the first time, dude. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, let's take a little trip down memory lane. I'm like, couple years back, All About the Benjamins, Puff Daddy, he did a rock version with fucking with Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters.
God.
Freaking Cypress Hill with the "So You Wanna Be a Rock Superstar." Cypress Hill's always been doing that.
Yeah.
New metal was going on, so I'm like, dude, you have like Limp Bizkit, and not the greatest examples, but like Limp Bizkit.
That's a pretty good example though.
But like Limp Bizkit,
you had a DJ and a guy going like, "Hey."
Yeah, and then you had like Method Man, like perhaps one of the greatest MCs ever.
Oh yeah.
Like he's on the track with you, and then like Korn, and then of course like Kid Rock was kind of, it was more rock, but you can see like the hip hop flavor.
Oh yeah, with the way he like his cadence and the way he talks.
Yeah, and the way he talks and shit. And I'm like, okay, keep on going down. Run DMC with Aerosmith, Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Fucking Anthrax with Bass with Public Enemy.
Yeah, with
and
Public
shit.
Enemy, the crossover.
And like Rage Against the Machine. Like, how the fuck can you not like?
Oh, totally. Because Rage covered like Cypress Hill
and Ice-T, or I'm sorry, Ice Cube, and then fucking Ice-T with fucking Body Count. Like, fucking Body Count was like early 90s.
Yeah, and I got to see Body Count.
I saw him too at Warped Tour.
I saw him at Mayhem. And,
nice.
It was that it wasn't Mayhem. It was the Ozfest Not Fest thing.
Oh, nice.
That year.
Nice. No,
it was cool.
I saw him at Warped Tour in San Francisco. That was kind of cool. Like, it was
dude, that's OG Warped Tour.
Like 03, I think.
Oh yeah.
03 or 04.
Dude, they stopped doing it out there.
Oh, I love that place also, dude.
It was better. It had a better vibe. It was more punk. It was definitely more punk vibe than the Shoreline Amphitheater.
Oh, dude. And place,
I love Shoreline.
I'm a fan of Shoreline now. I used to hate it because I felt like, well, I'm not against it. I just hate exiting the Shoreline. The traffic there's so fucking bad to get exit.
Well, but I'm slow at leaving.
Okay.
And even then you kind of got to wait. But if you're slow, because there's no, like you said, there is literally no point leaving early. Unless you leave, you have to be in the parking lot and in your car before the show ends.
Yeah.
That's early. If the show's over and even you're walking out, it doesn't matter.
No, you're done.
There's going to be 10,000 people going to their car at the same time.
Yeah.
So, no, I'm with you, but if I can't be early, which I'm rarely early, because unless I don't want to like stay for the headliner, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna leave. It's like leaving a sporting event.
Yeah.
I almost just try and take as long as I possibly can before the ushers say you gotta go, because I've noticed it's just a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because I can't, and now especially like just being safe.
Yeah,
I don't want to be squished in a corridor with a bunch of hundreds of people. I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
So it's like,
That's one thing I love about the Concord Pavilion.
Yeah.
That they separate when you park. Again, this is like maybe us just growing up, but they have so many different parking garages and lots that they all individually have their own exit. So rather than like, you have to wait way the fuck over there and wait in this big ass line to where like all these like 4 or 5 different lots are all gonna merge into. They're like, no, exit here, and it has like your own exit and shit, dude. And I love that. I'm
with it. And the reason that's good is because it's in the middle of nowhere in Clayton, and that's the one thing that almost most people hate about it. For me, it doesn't matter anymore because it's actually closer than Shoreline now.
Yeah.
Since I'm in Tracy. But that drive's rough at the end of the night, though, going back down to San Jose.
Yeah.
It's a long drive.
Yeah, dude. I done it. I think the last time I went there, I saw Thrice, Deftones, and Rise Against.
Was that like a couple years ago?
It was like maybe 3.
Doesn't sound that long. Yeah,
like maybe 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah, that was a pretty cool. That was a good show. I'm trying to think who else. I seen like Taking Back Sunday there. I seen Smashing Pumpkins and like Marilyn Manson there.
I've seen a lot of really good classic rock there.
Yeah,
you know who I got to see there that was really cool was Joe Walsh and Bad Company.
Oh fuck, I love that guy, dude.
Joe Walsh,
such a fucking badass guitar player, dude.
Dude, tell me you know the song "Turn to Stone."
Probably.
You got to cue it up on your phone. It's just one of those songs. It's just so good.
Yeah.
But like his music, I'm a huge Eagles fan too.
Yeah, same.
But like, just being able to see the Eagles and see Joe Walsh separate within like 3 years was great because when me and Steph went to go see the Eagles, Dylan's mom, Barb, took us.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have gone without Barb. Barb's the reason. But
yeah,
we went, and it was when everyone was still alive, dude. I got to see Glenn Frey live, dude, which is so cool because I don't know, when I was going to college, everyone was like hating on Glenn Frey because of the Eagles doc, and people are so stupid. Like they watch a documentary like they know everything and they believe like take sides. It's like, dude, you don't know shit. But anyway, I always liked Glenn Frey's solo music too. I thought he was tight. Like he did the song for like Beverly Hills Cop. Dude, that song's tight. I like saxophones and cheesy 80s music.
And what I found it most is he explained it why it was like that. It was the furthest thing he can listen to, or the furthest thing from the Eagles, because him and the Blab.
That's true. They didn't have a saxophone. I don't think they had a single song with a saxophone.
Not the Eagles. They're like, he's like, I'm going to make the less rockish music possible. So he did. The heat is on.
True. Because even Don Henley's music, you could say, could be Eagle songs.
Yeah.
But I mean, is it easier because, well, Glenn Frey was a singer too. So no, that's true.
Yeah.
But I agree. Glenn Frey's solo stuff definitely sounds different than the Eagles.
Yeah. And that's cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
But I'm happy I got to see him. But like, that's kind of like, you mentioned your paisa and your parents listen to, I'm guessing, a lot of like.
Yeah, they do. They listen to a lot of banda.
Norteño.
Yeah, a lot of banda, a lot of corridos and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, corridos is like.
They're kind of like.
Is it like.
Country?
It's country. It's not cowboy though.
No, because
like, is it like country farmer kind of country?
Yeah, so corridos, a little background. Corridos essentially started with like it's like singing like folklore music.
Okay.
About a song about an event or a person or something like that.
So that's kind of like Mexican folk in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm trying to think of like it all started like a long time ago during the Revolutionary War, the Mexican Revolutionary War. You had like a lot of Emiliano Zapata, a lot of Pancho Villa, songs dedicated about his battles, and then people who were also fighting with them. Like one of the most famous ones I'm thinking is Catarino Los Rurales, which is literally a song about this person Catarino and his brothers, how they got into a battle versus the Rurales, which are the Mexican army, the Mexican army. And they got into a battle, and they fucking killed Catarino and the brothers. And that's a fucking.
So it's like one of those tragedy, crazy, dope songs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where corridos came from.
So that's kind of. I mean, in a way, it's okay. So just based on what you explained, I'm getting a very folk, outlaw country kind of vibe.
Absolutely. And you can, and I'll even throw in some hip hop in there, also some rap. But I'm not saying fucking new rap or anything, but like at the
as far as being socially conscious about what they're talking about.
And talking about the streets and stuff, especially now there's even the new subgenre of corridos called narco corridos, which talks about like drug lords, and that stuff, and like
that's cool shit too.
Yeah,
that's pretty fun to listen to.
Yeah,
sounds cool. I don't know half this. I'm such a fucking güero, but like I still like the way I'm like, dude. But you can tell it's gangsta shit.
Yeah, you can tell like they're talking about some gangsta shit. But now, so that's where that came from, and it's mostly the music my parents listened to.
Oh, 100%. And that's what I was literally like. I was like, I brought us back to that because it's like, dude, I'm such a classic rock guy. Like, I could be transplanted back into 1975 and probably be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, for the most musically, I'd be fine. But like, yeah, dude, I mean, that's my comfort zone. Like I grew up with Skinner, Zeppelin, Allman Brothers, Doobie Brothers, the Beatles, the Stones, Eddie Money, 38 Special, all that stuff.
Fucking CCR and fucking
Creedence for sure, dude. I love CCR. Like,
I love CCR, dude.
So good.
Cash,
Johnny Cash for sure.
I don't think I would listen to like the disco shit around that time.
Dude, you know what? I used to hate on it, but now, well, no, I'm with you. I've thought about this consciously. I'm like, if I was around in the 70s, I'd probably be a metalhead,
Yeah.
But then I don't think I'd be into metal. Just like now, I don't think I'd be into metal girls. I'd be into the disco chicks. Because that's the hot chicks.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want a hippie chick. Like, because that's the thing. I'm not into white girls. And all the dudes that are into white girls probably be down for a hippie chick. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like, give me a girl that takes a bath and shaves her armpits. I'm totally down for that.
Yeah. I thought about it. Like, what if I had this conversation with a good friend, Ryan, a couple times. He was saying, like, he's like, oh, man, if I can go back to the 80s, I'll totally be into the glam metal shit.
Yeah.
He'll love that shit. Like,
I think I'd be a thrasher.
Yeah, me too. I think I'll be more into trash and definitely like the punk scene, like Descendants. And like,
dude. It was more. It seemed way more fun.
Yeah,
it seemed way more about having a good time than like the glam was having a good time, but it was so much fame.
It was having a good time.
So much of the stigma of like you know what I mean? That whole toxic fame shit.
Yeah, it was like
you're gonna get a bunch of Like, you're not going to get a bunch of fake people hanging around with the thrashers.
No.
Just like punk. You can't.
No.
It's no posers allowed, dude.
No. You'll get called out if you're a fucking poser.
But Motley Crue fucking people? Come on. I love Motley Crue. But you know damn well, those groupies and all of that's a melting pot of people that probably don't even listen to
freaking Poison.
Metal. Yeah.
You know, like, Rat, you know.
Round and round. Dude, that's a good song, though.
It is. Not bad. And he was doing his commercials were pretty funny on Geico.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I will be more into like the trash metal and like, yeah, and like the punk rock version of it. I think that would be more.
It makes sense for you too because we're kind of into the heavier stuff.
Yeah.
You know, even with Ryan. Ryan likes some heavy stuff, but he's still kind of more in the. I'd say he's more in the punk,
the more melodic,
the melodic.
Yeah,
that's his wheelhouse, and that's perfectly fine. But I agree, it makes sense. That totally makes sense to me. Like pop punk transfers to glam metal generationally. Yeah, so like that's exactly what I was thinking too. Because then like we're the metalheads, so we would still be the metalheads.
Yeah,
we'd be the ones that were hating on the dudes with the makeup.
Yeah,
or whatever, or we'd be the guys that would be cool with both. But we'd be hanging out with the thrashers.
Yeah, I think I'll be cool with everybody selectively. Yeah. But yeah, still like hanging out with like the trashers or something, or maybe with the artsy people. No, I don't think with the artsy people.
Artsy people are weird, dude, and that's funny because I consider myself. I love art.
Mm-hmm. And I wish I was better at it.
But I can't even say I'm an artsy person because I don't get along with that group either. It's a different.
It's funny. I don't like to consider myself an artist, dude. And this goes back to, and we had this conversation several times, where at least I'm super hard on myself that I don't give myself any credit.
Yeah,
and it's my issues and shit that I'm trying to get over with. But like, I don't consider myself an artist, and like, technically, I mean. And I feel weird talking about this because it sounds like because in my mind thinking, I'm sounding like a fucking douche. Like, oh, look at all my projects. But like,
yeah,
I have 3 podcasting projects, very successful.
Yeah.
Some are in hiatus and some are, kind of, but they're successful, great quality, that people listen to, and we appreciate all of you guys listen to.
Definitely.
I did photography for hella years. Like that's something I never tell them a lot of people. Like, but my first major was actually photography.
Like were you doing SLR?
I was doing 35 millimeter.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So
so you were actually developing film.
I still love to do that. I still love to go. Like I just loaded up my Holga 120N for all those photography people who listen to us. And this is like, they don't use 35 millimeter, they use 120 film. Mm-hmm. So it's like different exposures. I have my Kodak instant camera. I have like a handful of like, 35 millimeter cameras that I love to play around with, but like I don't go around telling people like, oh, I'm doing this, cause I never consider myself like, again, an artist, but yet I have my friend Tony, who's like an amazing graphic designer, graduated from graphic designing. His major's graphic designing from San Jose State.
Right.
And he comes to me about ideas for photography, and he's out here like, what the fuck? Danny's actually a pretty good photographer. And I'm like, nah, dude, shut the fuck up. Like,
yeah,
I'm horrible. Like,
But that's just because you're not like marketing yourself like a company, not because you're not enjoying what you're doing.
I'm definitely enjoying what I'm doing, but I don't think it's just like
it's something you enjoy doing. It's not like anything more than that.
Yeah, I guess, but
do you want it to be?
No, I try because one thing that turned me off about my first major was going to be photojournalism. And I remember going to Sacramento for like some like college newspaper. You know, I was part of my college newspaper actually for San Jose State. And I remember we did something and I just saw how competitive it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it. I didn't like the whole like super competitive.
Oh, dude, totally.
Like a lot of narcissists out there and a lot of like people with big heads. And I don't like doing that, dude.
No.
But yeah, like you have a good friend, fucking Ray Avila, you know, saying like, "Oh, dude, you're so good on bass." I'm like, "No, dude, I'm garbage." Like, no, dude. And this is like Ray, who's a fucking really good musician.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Nah, dude, that's garbage." I'm like, "Nah, dude, that shit sucks."
But you also know, like, because we all do that. But you also know, like, you don't suck. You just don't want to. You just don't want to put that out there. But you know that because I can tell you do. Because you wouldn't do it if you really, really thought you sucked.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean. You're like, because I feel the same way with my guitar.
Yeah.
Like I have guitars. I play guitar. I practice. I should do more and I should practice more. And I know I'd be a lot better if I did. And I know I wouldn't go out on I wouldn't do a YouTube tutorial on how to play a song.
Yeah.
And I would be nervous if someone asked me to play with them in a band.
Yeah.
But I don't know at the same time. I don't know if I would necessarily say, like, I know I technically suck if I'm comparing myself to fucking like,
Stevie Vaughan.
Sure, right? You know, there's so many people.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, dude, is we can't compare ourselves to people like that.
Yeah.
Because I bet you they felt, and even though they've done more, and they and they will, because we're not touring musicians. Like, those people work, their 9 to 5 is music.
Music, yeah.
So, like, I get that. I don't put the time in like they do. So that totally makes sense. But I just feel also like I think there's a sense of that even at a high level. I mean, like you said, even with your shirt, Kurt Cobain's, I mean, no matter what you feel about Kurt Cobain, whether you like their music or not, they were a hugely successful group. He wrote a lot of music. They wrote a lot of music together. But he was a super depressed guy that probably thought he sucked at everything he did.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they made millions of dollars sucking.
Yeah.
So, you know, but he never changed his mindset ever. But
and it's hard. It's hard. Like,
I'm not saying you should, but I feel like it's better to just acknowledge that you don't necessarily think you suck.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a go-to because you're like, you know, you're not as good as you can be.
If in a way, I think it's also like it's like a way to just like not, you know, first things we have to do, and you know, I reposted this and I say this all the time, but you know, us as a society and as individuals, we have to give ourselves credit, a lot more credit than what we actually do. That's one thing that we have to do, and no matter how big or small it is, we need to acknowledge that. With that being said, it is easier said than done. You know?
Totally.
Like, I don't think I'll ever be like, oh yeah, you know, I play bass. I've been playing bass for fucking 10 years, you know, 15 years or whatever. Because it's so like, because in my head, I'm like, gee, if I've been playing for so long, I should be fucking sounding like, I should be fucking staying on the fucking bass, or, you know.
But at the same time, dude, like, I totally agree. You don't necessarily need to change. I just think like, you're not a braggy person. Neither am I.
Yeah.
And we're not narcissists. But like, but it sucks that the stereotype of success is that. And and let's fucking, we should try, you know, and there's people that do, but it's like, we should, instead of being like, fucking, we don't fit that mold, we suck, we should be like, yeah, we just don't fit that mold.
Yeah.
And it should just end there.
Pero sabes,
you know what I mean?
But you know what, dude? Something that, and I tell this to my fucking students, and I tell this to my friends, and my therapist has said this to me, and so has my friends. I say this many times. You cannot compare yourself to others. No. That is strike 1 and 2 when it comes to any mental wellness. Stop comparing yourself to others. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have Or at least I have. I'm sure saying we, but definitely I have.
I do too.
I compare myself like I'm like, dude, I'm over here in your house, and I'm like, dude, your fucking house is nice, and if I know you and I love you, so I know how hard you work for this and to have this and everything you have. But if I was somebody else, like, fuck, how come this guy who's younger than me has a freaking nice ass home, and I'm over here like, my studio is also my bedroom where you have your own studio, you have your own place.
Now,
so
for sure, I'm blessed.
Yeah, so it's really like I can go into that and like I'm seeing my friends like posting videos or pictures that they're like on vacation somewhere. I'm like, fuck, like when is my turn kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of my biggest issues with my downfall was I was always comparing myself to others. Like, oh, look at that person. That person has this and this and that. Like, I need that, and I think that's one of the biggest problems I still have, is that I compare myself, even if it's like musicianship wise, hobby wise, or career wise, or anything. It's like I always compare myself to others, and I need to stop doing that, dude. I need to stop comparing myself because no one else can be me. And it's just everybody has different outcomes, dude. Like, just very quickly, dude, like, so on the game we ran into each other on Monday.
Yeah, the A's Dodger game.
A's
or Dodger A's game, depending on how you look at it.
I went with my friend Melissa, who I graduated college with her. We went to our teaching credential program. We've been teaching the same amount of school. Same amount.
That's awesome.
Yeah, great friend, whatever. In her school, a very rich person works with her, and this dude, like, his family worth is like one point something $billion.
Jeez.
Yeah. So
damn.
Yeah, super. He pretty much, like, the freaking buildings are named after his family. Like,
oh yeah.
Buildings in Santa Clara University are named after his family.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money out there. So he's very successful. And I remember once he commented saying he wished he didn't go to Santa Clara University because of what his name was. He felt like he got a free ride because of that. Well, fast forward, this guy's rich, filthy rich.
Right.
Has a nice home, nice family. He married, beautiful wife, whatever. And he was telling my friend Melissa that he got in, they got into an argument, and he apologized after, and he was pretty much saying like, I'm sorry, like, and he's pretty much saying like he, at that time when they had that argument, like, he was in this low point, he felt bad, and he felt like he was going through suicidal ideologies,
right?
Depression wise, and I'm like, and again, like, he's like, I know I shouldn't be this way, I'm obviously, I have wealth, but at the end of the day, my friend told him, like, you know what, it doesn't matter, like, all of that shit. At the end of the day, like, your emotions and your mental, your whatever your mindset is all valid. You have a right to feel that way, dude, regardless of, and again, I guess it's him comparing himself to, oh, look at me, I have all this, look how great my life is compared to this person. Why should I be feeling like this?
Yeah.
And vice versa, I can be like, oh, look at that guy. Like, he has a beautiful wife. He just came back from a fucking, trip from Europe. Like, how come I can be like that? And you thinking like this person looks perfectly happy, but we don't know what internally we're going through, dude. And I think that's one thing that we always need to remind ourselves is, first off, social media is false.
Yeah.
I just posted a fucking picture of myself on Instagram supporting this shirt, and it may look like I'm fucking happy and everything, but that's not all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing we need to remind ourselves, that social media is fake, and we cannot be comparing ourselves to each other.
Yeah. And like you said about comparison, like, you're comparing like one thing to one thing, and they're not even the same.
Mm-mm.
And like you said, like, what you're going through versus what they're going through, and like everyone's going through something.
Yeah.
And you're not looking at that, and you don't even know that. Like the only thing we're comparing ourselves to is what accolade they're doing.
Yeah.
We don't know the sweat, the blood, the cuts that got them to that, and like the loss they went through to get there too.
Yeah.
You know, God only knows. And it's like we see the success as consumers or as fans. But we don't see all the work. And even though we're pretty hip dudes, we're still not in the know of everything that those guys go through.
Yeah, absolutely not.
And that's, now that we're older though, we have some perspective and we're like, hey, that's stupid. Versus like how we were when we were younger. We're like, I want to be just like that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be in a band. I don't want to have to work later. And I'm not going to like work a 9 to 5. I'm going to work at a radio station, or I'm going to like, I'm going to produce music. I'm going to work in a recording studio. Yeah. Or then it goes to, I'm going to be like a live sound engineer. And now I'm managing a dispensary delivery company in Oakland. And I'm doing a podcast, or a couple, but, I'm always comparing myself to people with successful podcasts. Yeah. People like myself that maybe are doing better. But you know what, though? Is like, as long as you're using it as a motivator and not something to dwell. Yeah. I feel like that's the important difference.
And we brought this up several times also in this podcast, that we grew up in a very do-it-yourself musical environment. Yeah. So whenever we see like somebody that we know succeed, it's not like we're just like, oh, how come that can't be me? For us, we're like, oh, fuck yeah, that's hella dope. Yeah. Or, oh, shit, that's my plug to like, now we can climb up. And it's also very like, we have that do-it-yourself mentality also. Like, and I mean, dude, my shirt's a perfect example, dude. Like, right. Oh, I'm going to record. I might as well do a quick little shout out. If somebody sees the shirt, maybe they'll get, some exposure, Right. Or like name dropping my friends on Twitter and shit. Like, oh, I'm going to name drop them. Maybe somebody will go and check them out, And it's very like do-it-yourself mentality, Oh,
like, dude, yeah.
Like not just I'm going to succeed, but let's have this whole community succeed.
Yeah. And, it's smart. It's kind of building that network, and keeping things going, because it's like, if you want people to talk about you, you got to talk about them. Yeah. And it's not just a one-way street.
Yeah. I think everybody thinks that you do a podcast and you're automatically fucking Joe Rogan, and like
if anyone thinks that, they're stupid.
Yeah. But like thousands and thousands are going to listen to your podcast. I'm like, nah, dude, it doesn't work that.
Dude.
There's a lot of grind into it. And you may not think there's a lot of grind to like putting a microphone in your mouth and like recording, but no, there's a lot of grind. Like just in this setup right now, here we have the camera here, we have our video over there, we have our soundboard down here. You can't really see it, but you have lights here that you can kind of see reflections.
Yeah, I put it a little hot on my end.
Yeah, and then there's another camera over here. Yeah, and then I mean, this microphone, like setting up the microphone, like there's a lot of setup, and that's one thing. I was just talking to a buddy of mine about another podcast. He's like, hey man, I'm like, what do you guys do for like your audio to be nice? And I'm like, just invest on decent microphones and decent.
Best answer.
Yeah, invest on your, on your product. Like in my home studio, I have my microphone. They're not the most expensive microphones, but they're not like cheapy $20 microphones either. Yeah. But I got my stand. I have my recording interface. Make sure that my sound level sounds good and
oh no, like yeah, dude, you're professional.
And like we're talking about how like other people doing podcasts, like a lot of them were just throwing like,
or they're using like laptop. Yeah. Webcam
audio, like, or like the AirPod audio and stuff like that.
I mean, that's better, but it's like, oof.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I just tell them like, hey, just like anything, you need to invest in it. Yeah. If you want, you only get as much out of it as you put into it.
Exactly. And like in a less nice way is you can only polish a turd so much. Yeah. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, it's still a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. So, you can't start with a piece of shit, like you just said. Like, it's funny, like, it really does start with mics and all that, but more than anything, it's you. Yeah. Because you don't project your voice, it's just like singing. Like people want to replicate or constantly want to replicate singers or guitar players or any musician. But feel is such a huge part of what makes them who they are.
Yeah.
And you really, really, it's hard. Really hard to just replicate that.
And I think one thing also for anybody out there who has who I'm pretty sure they'll agree. And I mean, it's not just with podcasts; it's with any craftsmanship. You need to remind yourself that you're gonna suck the first couple. Yeah. You're gonna suck. You're gonna be horrible. You're gonna sound. Your personality is not gonna go. It's not gonna come through.
Definitely not.
It takes. It's like any craft. It takes a while. Like I do this podcast with you once a week.
Right.
I do, same thing with like the L3. I do it twice a week, 3 times a week sometimes. So whenever I go on somebody else's podcast, they're like, "Oh man, like you're so good. Like what like how is it?" I'm like, dude, just practice and just like knowing how to do it. And again, it's just sitting down talking, and it may sound like there's nothing to do it, but I swear you can go back and listen to like one of our first recordings, which we don't recommend you do, but you'll tell like this is shitty, and you can tell people who have never been like on interview or have never done like this type of like line work. You can tell when they haven't, once you put the microphone in there, you can tell that they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It's all over the place.
I mean, and that's the thing, especially nowadays, like since everyone can have a podcast, you have to be professional.
Yeah.
Because even though we just said, you should not compare yourself to Joe Rogan, other people will compare you to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And that's going to happen. And that's fine. You just shouldn't do it. But like, but like, of course I'm going to be compared because people, even though he makes millions of dollars per episode, well, that's not true. Thousands of dollars per episode.
Yeah.
People still want my shit to sound like his shit.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I don't have his assets. I don't have his all his tools. But I agree. If I'm gonna put something out and say it's professional, it needs to have that professional sound to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like, yeah, maybe I'm a fucking audiophile and all this shit because and what I went to school for. But it's just I agree. Like I gotta have a good mic.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say good mic, these are more than good. Like
this
SM57.
This is the industry standard. This is like Joe Rogan. If you look at his thing, this is the type he uses for all his guests. All of this is the type of microphones like radio stations also use. If you see live performance, especially like metal performers and stuff, they use these microphones. Like a lot of recording studios actually use it also.
This was the vocal microphone for Off the Wall.
Yeah.
With Michael Jackson.
Yeah. Because it's just so good in picking up audio and canceling audio all around you. So it's really
you're right because it's a dynamic like the SM57, not a condenser. So it's not just taking everything in, but it's a big one. So it takes a lot in a small space.
Yeah.
So it's perfect for broadcasting.
Yeah. But I think you should say another one. Okay, that's the one thing. But then you go down to like the SM57. This microphone was designed for Woodstock 69. Yeah. Because they were like, how can we make it so a microphone, but strong enough just so it can pick up whoever's in front of it and not like the whole crowd and doesn't get into bleeding or feedback. And they designed the SM57 for Woodstock, and it's like, you look at any musician live, regardless of what genre, you're gonna see those microphones, and especially like in the musicians.
Oh, dude, totally.
Like even in studios, like fucking drummers, like is your go around for anything. So the SM57 and the SM58
guitars,
yeah,
very popular mic for guitars.
Yeah, absolutely. The same thing. It's just it picks up so great audio, and it adds such a precise part. But like, so 57 is a great place to start, or the SM58.
58's good too.
It's a good one. All your freaking favorite scene, singers were using the SM58, and they probably still use it.
I got a 58. I think didn't Chino kind of have, or did he have a Shure? He had that old school Shure one, huh?
I think he also had a 58. Yeah. I feel like under oath,
most people had 58.
Yeah,
it's basically if you go to a live venue, the 58 is literally just the circular cap on a microphone. You're gonna see them everywhere.
Yeah,
they're just. My old teacher used to call them the Desert Island mic. That and the 57. Like, they like you said, Woodstock. They're just durable.
Yeah.
So they dealt with LSD. They dealt with hippies. They dealt with rain,
hepatitis, and all of the
all the heps.
Yeah, all the heps.
A little gone, a little chlamyd, but they got through it.
I was just thinking, 50. You're saying that, but our good friend Lemmy used to love singing to the 57.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the way he did it was cool because he had it actually high and it would aim down, which was cool because then I feel like most players do the opposite.
Yeah.
And you're constantly dealing with it kind of in your way.
Yeah.
Whereas he could kind of keep his head up.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was almost like the standing desk of being a frontman for its time.
Yeah.
Like he was basically, like everyone else is leaning down and you're going to, your fucking neck's all fucked up. But it's way better. It's so smart.
Yeah.
But it's probably also better for your diaphragm when you're singing because it's straight up and, So anyway, but smart man all around. But totally
guy.
Love the 57. And it's just, it's like quality is important, but you don't need to break the bank.
No. Like my microphone, I actually, I'm looking at it. It's right over there because I decided, I don't know. I'm like, I'm going to show up. I'm going to be funny. I knew Coop had all these nice microphones, but I'm like, I'm going to show up like, like the NBA players or like the soccer players when they, they're carrying their bag with like their shoes.
Dude, or like a fucking pool shark.
Yeah.
You got your cue in the bag, dude.
So I brought my own microphone. It's the Audio Technica, I believe, at 2020 or something like that. Not a super expensive microphone. I knew they're probably like a little bit over 130, maybe 140.
Sounds great.
I bought my first one that I'm still using. I bought it used about 2 years ago for like $60. And then the one I brought right here, I actually bought it off Daryl, for around the same price, also used and stuff. And he bought it like brand new also. So I knew it was a good microphone.
Oh yeah.
Good microphones. Again, we set this. We're kind of a little
gear
hoarders.
Horse, yeah.
So like I have those two. I got 57s that I don't need, but I'm not gonna sell them.
No, you don't need to sell them.
Yeah, and then like a 58, which I don't need, but I'm not gonna sell it. Like I have all these microphones for like a one person thing, but it's just options. But yeah, I think definitely, if you're gonna compare yourself to these professionals, is like, okay, well, you need to see what they have, and if you cannot afford that, I mean, by all means, do not go and fucking buy like expensive ass microphones and gear.
Live within your means.
Do your research, man.
Well, and I did research, and I looked up Joe Rogan's equipment because I also was like, I need to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
By the way, his microphones are expensive, but his boom, which holds the mic, is about $400, and the chairs they sit in are $800.
Yeah.
So all the money is not even all necessarily spent on the equipment.
Yeah.
Audio wise, it's
the accessories,
the whole experience with him.
Dude, my microphone boom or the boom stand or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like I got that off Amazon for like $15.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
My chair, I got it like free on like Facebook Marketplace or something.
Well, that's what I mean. Like that guy makes tens of thousands of dollars per episode. He
has the money.
We can sound good, and we sound comparable to that.
We sound good, dude.
Yeah, for sure. But I'm not comparing myself to Joe Rogan.
No,
I'm not stupid.
No, I'm not gonna compare like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna go around and say like, oh yeah, our sound quality is like fucking Joe Rogan.
No.
Like, no.
But like, I agree. I feel like people should care more.
Mm-hmm.
But you're mentioning your bass playing, and I haven't really talked to you much about this, but you do have a project, California Crush, if I'm not mistaken.
That's a project. So, I've been playing bass for, I don't know, since I was like 15, 16.
Nice.
And so yeah, just different projects here and there, and never really took off. California Crush kind of came at me, and it was kind of like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't take it so serious at the time. I was playing with my old band, Kumite, named after the Bloodsport movie, because that's the tournament.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's fucking dope.
yeah,
Yeah.
So, we were in it. Our drummer was in this project called California Crush. At the time, it didn't have a name, but it was just the guitar player and the drummer. So he asked me, he's like, "Hey man, why don't you come and play bass?" I'm like, "All right, cool." So I went, and it was very straightforward, like punk rock. So it was like, all right, I can get with this. And then just recently, we invited our guitar player from Kumite to join California Crush. So it turned into like, it just felt right. So now it feels awesome because I've been playing with our drummer Ray again.
Yeah.
I've been playing with him for over 10 years already musically. Our guitar player / singer Augustine, I've been jamming with him for about 4 years already. Josue, our guitar player, been jamming with him for a while, and then me. So we have that chemistry. We know each other. We know each other's like strengths, and we know each other's weaknesses.
Right.
Which I think is very important. And again, when you're like creating music, it's like, how can you complement each other? You know, when you're creating something.
Right.
So yeah, we got together over the weekend, jam. We redid some songs that we've been working on forever, and just like with all the crazy effects that we're throwing in there, all of the new influences that we're listening to and all this stuff we're kind of throwing out there, and we're pretty excited for it. Hopefully we'll get to nail him down perfectly, and if everything goes fine, I mean, knock on some wood, but hopefully we'll get to record something and present it out to the world hopefully by the summer, if not late summer, but hopefully sooner.
I'm super excited for you,
dude. I'm super excited too. What we're like, it's funny that you said like subgenres and stuff like that. In a way, this is what we're doing with our music now. Like, our guitar player has been listening to a lot of, I guess it's called like shoegaze. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that term, but like it's very guitars with a lot of effects, so a lot of reverb, a lot of chorus,
very ambient-y.
Yeah.
Okay, atmospheric.
Atmospheric. So like the most famous bands are like with that genres like My Bloody Valentine and like even like
what about Tame Impala? Kind of like that?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Just super, like just super atmospheric, super like a lot of layers, a lot of effects going on at the same time.
That's
very
sick.
Sonic Youth.
Yeah.
Very Sonic Youth. And then like
the Cure's kind of some Cure's kind of like that.
I kind of like that also. I'm even throwing some effects on my bass. I got a little reverb playing the whole time, and then I turn on and off my fuzz pedals just to create more
fuzz on a bass. It's almost like butter on toast.
Yeah, it is just, it gives us such an amazing roar on it, dude.
Well, and as a bass player, bass is one of the things that I love and adore.
Mm-hmm.
But at a younger age, it just kind of was in the background.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really know all the stuff, or I didn't really know all the stuff. But like, to me, the fuzz and all that stuff kind of helps the bass become a little more pronounced and gives it more of an individuality in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a lot of ways, the bass can it'll fall unnoticed.
Yeah, it'll go behind like the rhythm section,
it's tight, and that's the thing. It's like, if it's tight, it's following with the drums, right? You said the rhythm section, so it's going to be in the background. But if you take the bass out, you'll notice it.
Yeah.
But the fuzz pedal, what that I like about it is it helps the bass come out in the mix more.
Yeah.
So you can definitely hear it. And it's not just like, oh, it's a heavy guitar. No, that's the bass and the guitar.
Yeah.
Because even when I was younger, I was like, fuck, how does the guitar sound so heavy? It's like, well, because you got two of them, and they're double tracked, and there's a bass track.
Yeah.
So, and that's the other thing. When you listen to a record, you're not listening to the actual sound of the band.
Mm-hmm.
You're
listening to like.
Well, as fans, we're always trying to replicate the fucking album sound, and it's like.
And I think that's one thing also, as musicians, when we try to record something, we're like, oh no, it can only be. It can only be this and that.
Yeah.
No, I'm like, no, dude. It a lot of the songs that you listen to and you think there's, oh man, it's so fucking raw. It's like, no, it was like there's probably 4 or 5 different guitar tracks in one track.
Oh yeah.
You know, same thing with drums and like blendings of different like you know, effects and different guitars, you know, depending on for what piece they'll bring in this guitar with this amp, and then they'll bring that one up, and then they'll blend it in with this other one. It's just so like it's like an orchestra that you're doing.
Oh, dude, it's a lot, you know, and it's a whole production.
And this is like fucking Hawthorne Heights, you know, Ohio's for Lover song, and it has like all these different guitar tracks. Now you can only imagine on like fucking the Rolling Stones or like Adele and all this.
And you know what's cool is like when you double something, people think nowadays you could just copy and paste it and just put it on the other track, but it's false.
Yeah.
To truly get a double effect, you have to literally play it again and play it as perfectly exact as the first time you played it. Yeah. Not necessarily perfect. You need to try and match the first performance.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of that is you're thickening it up. But if you don't play it tight enough, it muddies it up as well.
Yeah.
So the art of the double is something that is still not appreciated enough in our society, but everything we listen to on the radio is doubled.
Oh, absolutely.
If not quadrupled nowadays. So it's just...
I mean, the best example of this is listening to Blink-182. Blink-182 is a 3, or like Green Day. I'm sorry. Let's go with Green Day. Let's keep it more. Since we're here.
We're keeping it Bay?
Yeah, we're here in the Bay. So listen to Green Day. Listen to like any song of Dookie or Nimrod or...
Basically the 90s.
The
stuff.
90s, yeah.
The good.
They are a 3-piece band. But if you go in there, there's freaking 3 or 4 guitar tracks going on at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it stands out when Billy Joel does like his solos. Like, you can... You know, there's solos going on or whatever, but in the background you can hear like there's still the rhythm guitar keeping up with the bass or like an octave of something. This is all tracks that, you know, it's only one guitarist recording it.
Yeah.
But it's all different things that they're done to make the song sound more fuller.
Right. Well, and not drop off because even bands that are 3 pieces, not all bands, but some bands that are 3 pieces on an album, you know, they might hire a session player live just for that reason. And as an interesting fact, there's a song called "Fool in the Rain" by Led Zeppelin. Have you ever heard it? It's the piano song.
No.
Anyway, there's a huge piano part. The bass player John Paul Jones played the piano. Thing is Led Zeppelin never hired people besides them to play their live stuff.
Yeah.
So there is no live version of that song ever,
that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
which is crazy. It's one of their huge hits. It's on the radio. Never have they played it live because they refused to hire a pianist or a keyboard guy
to play it live.
Because John Paul Jones, the bass player, did it. So obviously he couldn't do both.
Yeah.
Even though Ray Manzarek from the Doors did, but that's different. But no, like, so I thought that was interesting because that's one of my favorite Zeppelin songs, "Fool in the Rain," and
I know which one you're talking about.
Never played it.
Yeah,
and it has one of the coolest drum fills that goes into like a weird salsa-y kind of with a whistle and everything.
Yeah.
Such a great song, so weird and so cool, and I wish they fucking hired a guy to fucking play keys because that is just to hear John Bonham play that live would have been so dope.
Yeah,
because the drums are just insane on that song.
Well, that's the same. One of my favorite songs is U2 from U2 and this New Year's Day.
Oh, New Year's Day, that's a good one.
You know, and it comes out with The Edge playing like ding 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 ding.
Oh,
ding,
it's
ding,
such
ding,
a
ding.
melancholy little.
Yeah. And then what I didn't know is, you know, if you go back and they played it live, but if you go back, Edge is playing that, you know, that keyboard thing, and then he kind of stops it, and then that's where he comes in with like the reverb delay.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Well, see, and that's
so
dope
badass.
too.
Yeah.
But that's at least that's a different part.
Yeah.
Because you can't do them at the same time. Because Geddy Lee from Rush does that too with the synthesizer and the bass. So no, that's totally dope.
And what sucks is like you hear it one way in the recording, like where there's the guitar playing already going on along that, but live, you know, it's impossible. I mean, now I'm pretty sure they have fucking keyboard players and backup guitarists to do that.
Yeah.
But at the time, late 80s, when they're just coming up, and it kind of takes it. I don't want to say it takes away from the song, but it doesn't make it as thick. It doesn't.
You know what's crazy? Fucking Pantera didn't do that either. So on album, like you just said, like Green Day, they have, on the solos, they have the rhythm section playing guitar. And of course, it's him doing it, but they didn't hire anyone else. So if you listen to their live stuff, it's interesting because during the solo, it's just drums and bass.
Yeah.
And it's just insane that it still works.
Yeah.
But that's because when you're good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You arrange it, you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I totally understand and agree with what you're saying, because as an amateur listener, you'd be like, this doesn't sound as good as the album.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but it's not real.
Yeah.
I love albums for what they are.
Yeah.
But they're albums. They're artwork. They're put together. It's a process. It's not just a transparent thing. Some people are. Punk and hardcore is a pretty good example of that. What you get is definitely what you see on those mixtapes.
Mm-hmm.
But for a produced pop song or like rock or anything with a record label behind it, it's polished.
I mean, because the budget's not there.
Right.
The budget's not there, so but it goes back to like living a lie and comparing yourself to like a lie, like, oh, I want to get this, this tone, like, Dave Grohl's tone or something on guitar. And you'll find out it's so difficult to get. Like, you think you can buy Dave Grohl's fucking signature guitar and the amps and everything, single thing that he uses, and you still probably not gonna find his tone, or his tone is not.
Tone's in the fingers too.
But yeah, the whole style within that one. And if you try to listen to Everlong live compared to Everlong recording, like way different, guitar tone.
Yeah,
and then Everlong now compared to Everlong 25 years ago when it first came out, completely different also.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's like one thing you always got to keep, regardless of what you're doing in life and hobby and whatever, you always got to remind yourself, you know what? You cannot compare yourself to others.
No, and you got to use it as motivation.
Yeah.
It's like that whole grass is greener. It's not healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But to strive for things and to look forward to better things, that's healthy.
Yeah.
It shouldn't always be, because with comparison comes animosity and weird spite that doesn't need to even be there.
Yeah.
Like, you might not feel that way towards that person, but eventually you got this weird like jealousy and it's just not healthy. Like, you have no problem with this person. Mm-hmm. This whole problem is completely internal. You're just projecting it. And like you said, dude, you got to be proud of what you do, own your accomplishments, always try and better yourself and surround yourself with better people than you. Like in California Crush, you're in with good people. Yeah. And that's why you guys are all in together, because you guys motivate each other. Mm-hmm. Like, if you guys were all a bunch of bums, you guys wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And that's what's great. You're only as strong as your weakest link, or, and the other thing is, you got to surround yourself with 5 people that are better than you type thing.
Yeah.
And like, I don't want to be the best person. Like, if I'm the best person, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be last, but being best is also weird when you think about it, because then you're like, where do you go from there?
Yeah.
You better be ready to steer that ship.
And you better be able to back it up also.
Right.
Because it's funny that we were just talking about this with California Crush. Augustine, our singer guitar player, he's like, yeah, dude, it's cool having Josue on guitar now and having Danny on bass, because in the way you guys keep the song, as lined up as possible as it is, which allows them to try all these different effects on it now and tries new things. And he knows if he ever starts too far away from the song, he can find back his groove in it. And I guess it's like having that trust on your partners, on whatever thing you're doing, having that trust that you trust them, you trust that person good enough, or if you try something different, that person's still gonna be good without you there. And I think that's what a leader is, and that's what it takes whenever you do any sort of
they
group work.
raise you up too.
Yeah, you cannot like have this, and it kind of goes with like our hero mentality that we were talking about with the no episode,
right?
Where like, well, I need to be on top of it because no one else is going to be able to match my style. I'm like, no, dude,
Right.
like that's strike 1 and 2 right there. And I've been in many bands where that happens, where like, there's a person who thinks like they're the whatever, and they don't have trust on the other musicians. So what happens is the other person doesn't want to fucking play no more, or no one wants to play with that person because like, no, fuck that guy. That dude has a huge ego. So you need to also trust on whoever it is you're working with, that they're gonna keep it up. They're gonna go ahead and hold their end, and it eliminates the no part, because then again, it goes back to things that we've been talking about. Like, you can easily say, no, dude, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
And if you see your partner as an equal rather than like, freaking God or something, you have, that trust to say, that confidence, say, no, dude, that doesn't work, or or, it's just, I don't know. I think it eliminates some of the stress, and it, rather than them keeping it bottled in, you kind of address the issue early.
Yeah. So where you said summer, you guys are planning on recording stuff?
Yeah, hopefully.
If the place opens, and by place I mean California, is there going to be a potential random backyard show?
Well, they're saying that California should be opening by June 15th.
That's what I'm hearing.
That's what the gov said.
So maybe there may be. I mean, I'm not anyone's manager.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally trying to hype this up because I'm excited. But like I'd be down to a summer show of. I mean, that's kind of tough though.
We were talking about it, and we're like, okay, luckily we have connections, so like, I think we can land a gig or two at the Caravan.
Dude, that would be cool.
That'd be super cool. Or like the Ritz also. I think that'd be
I've never
place.
been to the Ritz.
There you go. So the Ritz would be a different place also. I'm pretty good friends with the people over at the Pinup Production.
Nice.
And they put on fucking amazing shows. So I think it's just a matter of us sending our demo, like, hey, this is what we do now. Like, can you find us a show? And I think we'll be able to land something. So the possibility is there for a show. How soon will that happen? Not really sure, but the possibility is definitely in there.
But it doesn't matter, because the fact that you guys are doing things, that's what's important.
Yeah.
I can see the excitement. I can see the smile on your face.
It's exciting.
Thing, man.
It's exciting times, dude, because it's like, we're both musicians, so like, and just when things come together, you just feel like it feels awesome, and just like, and it's like pride, and I take pride in everything I do. I think I may not promote it as much, but I take pride in every single thing I do. So like, hearing people, and especially here who's listening to us, like hearing you guys like come up to us and telling us that you're listening to this podcast, and you finding this, is very interesting. Like, for us, that's fucking amazing, dude. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like fucking Matt Bustamante saying, like, having a conversation about like David, Flat Earth David.
Oh yeah, David Weiss.
Yeah, like that was cool. I'm like, oh shit, fuck, I forgot people listen to this.
Well, dude, me too. Like when I was getting tatted up, which by the way, we should just be like, I got some Matt Bustamante tat right here.
I got.
This is
mine is down here. You can't really see
ink vested metal mat right here.
Yeah, I got some ink vested too. Shit, look at this gut.
It's okay, dude. Look at this gut.
Look at this. I should probably like
see, but you're doing. I could go sideways and see that does look pretty bad. Look at that.
I should probably like definitely compare myself with my crunches compared to somebody else, so I can hopefully better my technique. But
well, I mean, we're talking about punkers. You could just start doing heroin.
That is a possibility.
And you won't even have to do crunches.
A little crack here and there. It never hurt.
Yeah,
nobody.
I mean, just a little. Just miss a meal. Fuck that.
Just a tip.
Yeah. No, dude. But I was gonna say, this is why we're black. It's slimming.
Yeah. Same. But no. Yeah, Matt coming up to us. Who was I talking to a couple of days ago on Twitter? Same thing though. Like, people who I know from the soccer community, like listening to this episode, like it feels so great that you guys are listening to and giving us feedback because it get Ivan, there you go. I'm sorry, our good friend Ivan Fernandez.
Nice.
He's like, oh yeah, like keep up the good work with with Tales from the Head. And I'm like, here's the tweet if you don't believe me.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, oh shit, cool, man. Like, and it just feels so great, like getting that recognition, and like it makes you excited because then you really look forward to doing this and putting it out, and helping us grow. So super excited stuff, dude.
Yeah, and we're definitely always looking for people. So
yeah, dude. If anybody ever wants to come and chat with us.
Well, and now that we're kind of opening back up, I'll get another camera, and then we could definitely do like a round table.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Because that's eventually what I've been wanting to do. I just, for some reason, I had this table all the way over there. I'm like, why don't I just put it in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
Literally today, redid this whole thing. So it didn't even look like this before. So it's kind of, I almost feel like I'm in a different room right now. It's kind of fun.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, dude, June 15th would be cool, dude, because, I think eventually we can figure out a way to do these, not every week.
Yeah.
But we could do them at least maybe like once a month. And,
yeah.
And, trade off who goes where.
Yeah, because
that'd be fun.
It's definitely it definitely gives us the opportunity, because it's a different interaction between Zoom and then in person also.
Oh, it's so much better in person.
Different interaction, 100%. But yeah, dude, let's make it happen.
It's like, I'm totally with it. It's just like now I don't want to go back to Zoom because I'm like, literally, we've done this for 8 months since August of 2020, and it's April of 2021, and we did it in person, and I'm like, man, it's a good thing we didn't do this in August because we would have hated doing it on Zoom. Yeah,
we probably only would have done like 1 or 2 episodes.
Because Zoom's great.
Yeah.
It's so convenient.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and it's pretty personal considering, but it's still just not the same.
Not the same
at all.
Yeah, and I think like going back to like me jamming with the guys on Saturday, like we've been passing ideas back and forward,
right,
with like everybody recording and then putting it together and stuff like that. But playing it live, just hearing that is just such a fucking different.
The jam, dude.
Yeah. That's
the fucking therapy. That's the fun.
Yeah.
Is playing it live and just vibing.
Yeah.
And it's just, it doesn't work on the Zoom.
No.
Just latency and just even the fact that you're not in the same room together.
Yeah.
You can't, it's just not chemistry. Chemistry's hard.
Yeah. And I think that's what luckily for us, one thing I have to say about all the projects we're involved with, something that's been super successful for us is that we know each other prior to these, to these projects, and we're friends. So like before we started Tales from the Head, like obviously I already fucking knew you. We have a history.
Right.
Same thing with like the Elf 3. I know those guys for all my life. So like we had that chemistry. Sure, it's freaking weird. Like we're talking to each other on like fucking camera rather than person to person. But like I think that's one thing that a lot of people draw to this, is that we have that chemistry. We have that, it sounds like friends.
Yeah.
Because I know what different podcasts is, that's not the case. Like they started, but since they live in different countries, different states, different areas or whatever, the only way they can do it is through Zoom or whatever.
That's rough.
And that's rough. I'm not saying you cannot
drop.
Yeah, and I'm not saying you cannot have quality work, because a lot of these people have amazing work, but it's just like that chemistry is not there. And I think that's one thing that is very important, bringing in that chemistry in.
Yeah, dude. And like I always have a fear on Zoom that it's just gonna
crash.
Yeah, and it never does. I don't think it's ever done for Tales.
It's done it. I think it did it once. I think it did it once for me in Tales. I think it dropped towards the end.
Yeah, I had bad luck with balls, but I didn't. I never did anything with tails for some reason.
And then definitely when I've been teaching, there's definitely been times where like 2 or 3 times where
when you really need it.
Yeah, it just drops and I'm like, fuck.
They're like, today's no. And then it just goes black.
And I tell them, I put it on our Zoom chat. I'm like, hey, my internet is funky. If I disconnect, stay on the call.
Yeah.
And yeah, like sometimes I'll disconnect.
You get back on it, it's all like screensavers.
No, I get back and they're still like, some of them are still there, and I'm like, all right, cool,
nice. You got some good ones.
But at first, if I exit it, ended the call for everybody. So like I'll have to put in the Google Classroom and be like, hey, everybody log back in.
Yeah,
hey, everybody log in.
Yeah, that sucks.
No one fucking logs in.
No. And then you're just sitting there like that guy waiting to pick up the girl for the dance. She's not going to show up. She's already with the guy from the football team.
Yeah.
Under the bleachers.
It was all a prank.
Yeah, it was like backwards Carrie.
Yeah.
The guy version.
Yeah. Those are great movies, by the way.
Yeah, but to go with that, it is a great movie. The guy version would be harder to do because a lot of the whole blood thing was because she was menstruating.
Yeah.
And she was a coming of age. They were bullying her for being a woman who was getting her period.
Yeah.
So how would that, what would the,
work for the,
how would the flip side be for a dude?
I guess like your voice is cracking.
Like pre-cum?
No.
Like you got a boner and
your voice is cracking or something every 5 minutes.
Yeah, but then like how would they humiliate you? Because that's the thing. Like that's the beauty, and that sounds fucked up, but that's the beauty of Carrie. It was, it's just such a personal story that really can't just be, cookie cut to something else. It is what it is.
No, and I mean the whole point of Carrie also, another thing, is that her mom was a fucking nutcase.
Totally.
Which fit into Carrie's rage and Carrie's, whatever.
Mean, you could probably argue if she had a different mom, regardless of her setbacks on her own and her telekinetic abilities. Probably none of that would have happened.
No. Because
her mom, in a way, bullied her more.
Yeah.
And then, like, at least when she was done with school, she went home. But her mom's, she's home all the time.
Yeah.
So she's getting it from school. She's getting it from home. Yeah, I mean, you could probably argue the main antagonist in that movie was the mom.
One thing about Carrie, and I never understood this, and I've seen it. Maybe if I read the book, maybe.
First book he ever wrote, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a great fucking movie and book. But the last thing before we go. Was Homeboy in on it? Like the guy?
I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
But I also think he didn't like her. I think he pitied her. But I don't think he was in on it. What do you think?
Because I know he was in on the joke to take her or something.
But he wasn't in on the whole thing.
No, not on the pig. On the pig.
Maybe he did know, but I don't think he knew about the blood and all that.
No, because you can tell like when she gets covered with it, he kind of like looks up. He's like, "What the fuck?" And then like he gets knocked out with the bucket also.
Right.
But you can tell like his face was like just confusion, like, "Why the fuck will you do this?" And I think at first he did pity her or something. I think at first he was like, "This is fucking dumb. Like this is stupid. I don't want to do this joke." Like it was a joke.
Yeah.
But the counselor teacher was like, "If you fucking do something to her, I'll fucking kill you or whatever."
Right.
Like, I think at the end he did pity her. It's like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna have this. Like I feel like in his heart, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna make sure she has a good time.
Exactly.
And then. At the end, I know that they're dancing and she gets like he kisses her or something. I think that was a sincere kiss. He realizes like, you know what, this girl's actually, she's weird, but it's because no one's ever given her a chance.
Right.
She was pretty. Once her personality, once her walls also because of years of bullying and shit. Once it came down, she saw it like, this is actually a really cool girl. She's sweet or whatever. But yeah, I don't think he was in on it with the blood.
No, but what's a trip too about that movie is like the just it's almost poetic how it's the last. Okay, so it's like some people could argue it's like her worst point, but also you could argue it's the only point in her life where she was in control.
Yeah.
So it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
In a really fucked up, scary way.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, this person who's constantly being like bullied and constantly being minimized down to a size of a mouse everywhere she goes, finally is in control of a situation.
Yeah.
She's never in control of a situation.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's the poetic learning lesson that is, you know, like, once again, you don't know what people are going through. What may seem cool to you isn't cool to them. And also, it's like, you don't know what people are capable of.
Yeah.
You know, you like to judge people. We all do this.
That's where we started with this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, you listen to that. That's all who you are. You're just a metalhead. You're just a punker. You're just a hip hop guy. You're just a rapper. Like, no, dude. Like, there's levels to things. And, you know, we need to understand that as individuals, you know, and like, that's a perfect, you know, circle is Carrie and music. Like, you know, very, can't judge books by their cover,
and also like just to you know ride that wave with you, bro. The other thing also about is she finally came to acceptance of who she really is,
right?
Who she really was, and it was liberating.
Exactly,
it was very liberating for her. Unfortunately, she also liberated a lot of hate.
She liberated the whole town almost.
Yeah, pretty much. But I feel like she also saved or she kind of pitied the teacher, no?
Yeah.
Because she was the only one that like ever like really cared for her.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Sincerely.
Yeah. So I if I remember, like she kind of like kicked her out and locked her out so she couldn't come back in.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I feel for her it was like very liberating. It was acceptance of who she is. Like, okay, this is who I am. No need to pretend anymore. No need to like, and is again very liberating. And then, you know, for me, you know, reflecting on it is kind of like when I came into terms that, you know, I needed fucking help. I needed to go see a therapist or something. Like it was very. I won't say it was liberating because it's not like I started fucking dancing down the street. Like, hey,
but in a way, it was the road to being, to that.
Well, you know,
you were sensing you were getting to that.
Yeah, I mean, prior, you know, I still remember this day. I was I was in my head. I was thinking this world is better off without me.
Right.
You know, and I'm just I need to disappear. Like this world. Like, yeah, everybody's going to be sad for like a day, but everybody will move on. And dude, I honestly said that, dude. I'm like, whatever. Everybody else will move on. Like, just like time. You know, don't forget about me. You know, like, oh, my niece, she's, at the time, I think she was like 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, my niece, she's small. She isn't going to fucking know. It's not going to affect her that much. Like, this is my fucking mentality, dude.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one will care. Like you know, it's cool. I'm just gonna do it. You know, it was, and I think I once read like once suicide is like your alternative answer to anything. That's when it's very scary. Like, oh, well, you know, if that fucks up, I'm like, I can always just kill myself. You know?
Shit. No, yeah, for real.
So like, I was already in that mindset. So I remember when my brother and my sister showed up to my school, and they're like, hey, dude, what the fuck's going on? Like you know, like, we're hearing this, that you might want to do something stupid. Like, don't, like, if you think that you're not going to affect anybody, like, you're fucking wrong. Like, you know, it's my brother telling me this, Juan. Yeah. And I'm like, I remember just breaking down crying and just like, dude, I'm so fucking miserable. Like, I hate my life. I hate, you know, I don't see the success. You know, it's just everything that's been going on, you know, and being able to finally say that to the ones I loved and trust and the nearest was just so liberating, because I was like, you know what? I don't have to fucking fake. I don't have to put on my fucking happy face anymore.
Well, and how else would you have been able to say that? You wouldn't have been able to say that on your own.
Never.
Because you wouldn't have done that. And most people wouldn't. People like you yourself, like you're not like a narcissist. You're not just going to be like, I feel so strong about this. I need to fucking tell you and interrupt what you're thinking and doing just so you can feel how I feel.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. I totally get that, because like, how else do you get in that situation?
Yeah.
Like, without sounding like a total like without a lack of a better word, little bitch or you know, someone who wants to
attention. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like, it's not even that you like, we're looking at others like that. We just don't want to do that. We don't want to act that way and be looked like that for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I totally get that, because it's like, how do you convey and communicate that? Like, everyone always talks about, like, talk to people. It's like, yeah, but how do you get into that? How do you get into the subject? And that, I feel, is the thing we need to talk about and we need to figure out with people, because talk is cheap. And always the advice of, find someone to talk to. But how
do you start that?
How do you start that conversation?
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's definitely something
and
we need to hear more from. I feel like I don't really hear how do we start the conversation ever, really.
No, I you know, and sometimes it's just reaching out to that 1-800, you know, hotline number.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes is you know, reaching out to somebody who's maybe had the same experience. But what if you don't know nobody? What if you don't have that trust? You know, is how to start those conversations. Like, who do you turn to? You know, I can tell my students, like, oh yeah, you can come to me whenever you feel like this, or go to our school psychologist or something. But like, you know, how would they tell like their parents or like a sibling or something? So
no, dude, totally.
So I think that's one thing. Also, like, you need to have that conversation, and vice versa. Like, if you see somebody that might need that help, that might need that something, you need to be out there and reach out.
And you need to say something and do something, because like you said, you've been that person, and if you had someone reach out to you, it could change everything.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just that whole thing. Treat people how you want to be treated. If you want someone to if you want a knight in shining armor to rescue you from your problems, then you got to be that for someone else.
For me, dude,
you know?
And I think I said this before here in this podcast, and it's definitely said in DL3, but for me, it was DL3 guys. They reached out to my brother, and they're like, hey, you need to talk to Danny. Like, this fool, like, it's not normal what he's saying, and like how he's been acting, or like his dark humor, like, it's not, you know, normal. You know, so I think like that was also like making that, like, you know what, having that trust, like, you know what, yeah, I need to make that call. I need to tell that person something. But yeah, it's definitely how to start those conversations. It's definitely hard. And like, yeah, I've had conversations now with people who have shared their experience with me, you know, like, you know, no names, but definitely after starting this, couple of my buddies, you know, I met through Twitter and Instagram, like, hey, yeah, this is the experience I've went through.
Right.
And again, this is people who, you know, you look up to and you're like, oh, what was wrong with that person? Like, he has, or she has everything, you know, that she needs or he needs. But at the same time, it's like, you cannot judge a person just how they look like on the outside. It also has to go within the inside,
or even all the choices they make sometimes.
But at the end of the day, Coop, it goes back to one of the earlier things. Your mental issues are valid, regardless of what your status is, regardless of, you know, where you are financially, regardless of your sex or whatever. Mm-hmm. Your mental issues are valid, and I cannot stress this enough for our listeners. If it's big enough of a deal to have you like tripping, it's a big enough deal to talk about. So
100%.
So it you know, you know, I shouldn't, because I've done this before. Like, oh, what the fuck am I bitching about? Like, I have, you know, well, at least I have a home. Like, there's people, you know, it's not like I'm homeless. Doesn't fucking matter.
No.
They can be homeless and be the most happiest person in the world.
Right.
They're like, oh, well, you know, oh, what the fuck am I complaining about? I have a good career. Sure. But I can be a cashier at fucking, you know, anywhere. I can be doing not what I'm doing. There's people who, you know, are perfectly happy doing what there is that they're doing.
Right.
And doesn't mean like, oh, they're not successful. You know?
Yeah.
They're successful.
I think that the hard part is having the balance of that mentality and then pride, because you still want to, it's important to not break yourself down, but it's also important to use pride to build yourself up.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing we need to take from is you got to borrow from all these different things in life to be who you are. and once we learn our little tool bag and what to grab for this specific thing that we need it for, and not just to have it all the time, you know, that's when things become a little more controlled and we feel better.
Yeah.
You know, and just, dude, I mean, even just a year ago, I feel mentally, intellectually much more in control and just more intelligent even than I felt a calendar year ago.
We're fucking Carrie reading about the books about her powers.
Yeah, we're Carrie, like, if she got courted with the dude and then he banged her that night and they had a good time and then they left. That's us right now. Yeah. We're not like Columbine Carrie.
No, we were definitely Columbine Carrie about a year ago.
Yeah. But I'm saying we didn't have we had the blood thing, but then we escaped. We didn't kill everybody. Yeah. But like, yeah, no, for sure. We had our bad thing, but we, unlike Carrie, we were able to change and unfortunately, you know, our situation was better than hers. But like, dude, I mean, exactly, like borrowing from learning lessons, regardless of whether they're a horror movie, a book, there's life lessons in everything, you know, and I think it's important to just keep those ideas and morals, you know, fresh, so we know what not to do.
We were lucky enough not to have that fucking creepy looking Jesus in our house.
Thankfully, we can learn from Stephen King and other horror writers, or just people in general in history that want to help us learn, so we can create a better tomorrow for people, not just perpetuating the same bullshit over and over again just because it's tradition. So I totally understand that as well. And we can definitely break the cycle, and I think we have. It's just now we got to figure out how to keep the cycle going now that it's different.
Yeah.
But I'm excited that we're doing this in person. I definitely think we're going to do more.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I think the lava lamp's telling us we need to do more. I mean, that's a nice little ad.
I love it.
Look at that.
I love it, dude.
If that's not adding 70s porn vibes, I don't know what is. Dude.
I mean, definitely deck of cards. Definitely your deck of cards over here. Definitely adding some 70s vibe to it.
It's all 70s vibes. I mean, grow the bushes out. We're doing it big time. Light the joints.
Grow the shops over here.
The mutton chops, the bell bottoms, they're all coming back. But until next time, guys, we thank you for joining us, and keep it real. We will be back next week for another episode of Tales from the Head, but until next time, see you later.
Later.